Hey, what's up everybody? It's me, Just Geeks, back with a brand new video. And today's video, we are diving into the life and history of the Earth King from Avatar: Last Airbender, King Kuei. I put a lot of work into this video, did a lot of editing for it. Putting this all together has been very fun. This is what I've been working on for like the past week or so, probably like 2 weeks, and like the last week has just been editing everything together and finally putting it out. Um, so I hope you guys really enjoy it. I put so much work into this. I had so much fun with this. And if you enjoy the video, please let me know. We're gonna dive deep into Kuei and everything he did in the series and everything he did in the comics and everything, his life and all that. Even like the real life person who might have been the inspiration for his character. But anyways, guys, let's jump right into the video. I hope you all enjoy it. Let's get to it.
Ascending to the throne at the tender age of 4 after his father's demise, Kuei emerged as one of the youngest Earth Kings in history. However, due to his young age, it was deemed necessary to appoint Long Feng as regent, granting him complete control over Ba Sing Se. Consequently, for the majority of his reign, the Earth King was merely a puppet under Long Feng's influence, relying entirely on his counsel and incapable of making even the simplest decisions. Unaware of the 100-Year War or anything beyond the confines of the Earth Kingdom royal palace, the king remained oblivious to the lies fed to him by Long Feng until the Avatar eventually exposed the truth. Excluded from the affairs of governance, Kuei devoted his time to various hobbies. A passionate lover of animals, he curated an extensive collection of creatures from around the world brought to him through the expeditions of Ba Sing Se University. Among them, his most cherished companion was a rare bear named Bosco, who accompanied him constantly and became his sole confidant. Kuei lavished attention on the bear, providing it with expensive meats, hosting grand parties, and even organizing unsuccessful expeditions to find Bosco a mate. Over time, Bosco evolved into Kuei's closest friend, aided by the bear's remarkable intelligence, which facilitated effortless communication between the two.
So as we can see, the Earth King Kuei was just a puppet for Long Feng to use. Long Feng was just using him so he could control everything else. And Long Feng was predominantly in charge of everything else, from like the military to all the important factors. The only thing Kuei really took a part in was probably like the cultural aspects of boxing, say like festivals and stuff like that, making appearances and stuff. Um, and most of the time, he just spent time with his bear Bosco. He was really secluded, in this palace and everything, not knowing the outside world. We even see this when he first travels outside the wall, outside the palace. I mean, I'm sorry.
The Earth King's palace was under attack by the Avatar and his allies, Katara, Sokka, and Toph Beifong. They fought their way through the Dai Li and the Earth King's royal guards to reach the king's throne room. There, they informed the king about the 100-Year War and Long Feng's betrayal. Initially, the king was skeptical, but when the Avatar showed him Appa's bite on Long Feng's leg, he agreed to accompany Aang and his group to verify their claims. Their first destination was Lake Laogai, where the Dali secret headquarters used to be. However, the base had already been destroyed, and the Earth King remained doubtful of Team Avatar's intentions. Influenced by Long Feng, nevertheless, Aang managed to persuade the king to go to the outer wall by offering him a ride on Appa and showing him the Fire Nation drill. A massive war machine. Long Fei tried to pass it off as a construction project, but the Earth King saw through the deception. He ordered the Dai Li to arrest Long Feng, and they complied, taking him into custody for his crimes against the Earth Kingdom. With the conspiracy exposed, the Earth King expressed his gratitude to Team Avatar and acknowledged his own ignorance about the war. he agreed to assist Sokka's invasion plan. Subsequently, while Aang and Sokka and Toph left for the east, the Earth King remained in Ba Sing Se with Katara. During a war meeting called the Council of Five on the day of Black Sun, Katara rushed into the throne room to warn the Kyoshi warriors about Prince Zuko's presence in Ba Sing Se. To her surprise, she discovered that the warriors were actually Azula, Ty Lee, and Mai, the Fire Nation princess and her companions. Ty Lee incapacitated Katara by blocking her bending, and the waterbender was captured and taken to the crystal catacombs of Old Ba Sing Se.
Team Avatar has finally reached the Earth King, and they finally convince him to come check everything out. Now, first, obviously, Kuei, he's lived a very sheltered life, a very isolated life. The only person he trusts is Long Fang. So at first, it's hard for him to kind of like, he's seen evidence for Appa's bite, but that's not even enough, for him. So they take him to see Lake Lao. It's been destroyed, obviously, and he's about had it when they take him out to see the drill. And this is where we kind of really see Kuei like outside the palace, and him seeing like how everybody's living in Boston, saying everything and riding the monorail for the first time. So they take him to the outside wall. He sees the drill. Long Fang tries to explain away. Kuei's not buying it. So now his eyes have been opened. They're at war, and he's had no idea. He's lived all his life not knowing what was going on outside the wall. So it's really a shock to him. And now he comes to a point where like I feel like he becomes a little too trusting right now. He's been so trustful of Long Fang, but Long Fang's tricked him. So now he has to trust anybody outside the circle besides Long Fang. So now he's giving his trust, to anybody. And Azula and them getting in really, was just really a slip. If Sokka hadn't been there, I feel like it would have been that easy for them to get in. The fact that Sokka vouched for the Kyoshi Warriors because obviously he thought it was Suki, they get in and they're finally able to get into the king's throne and everything. And obviously, because Sokka trusts them, Kuei immediately trusts them, which just leads to them to be able to do everything that they're gonna do, as we're gonna see as it goes on.
When Sokka and Toph returned to alert the Earth King, Azula and her accomplices were exposed due to Ty Lee's flirtatious behavior towards Sokka. Sokka, however, confessed his feelings for Suki, causing Ty Lee to unintentionally blow the cover by admitting she didn't know who Suki was. In the ensuing chaos, Sokka battled Ty Lee while Mei confronted Toph. Meanwhile, Azula took advantage of the distraction and approached the Earth King from behind, threatening him with deadly blue fire. Eventually, they were all apprehended. Nevertheless, Toph utilized her metal bending skills to free them from the clutches of the Dai Li prison, while Aang and Iroh successfully rescued Katara and Zuko from the crystal catacombs. Toph and Sokka made preparations to evacuate the city alongside the Earth King. As the Dai Li initiated a coup, however, the Earth King adamantly refused to leave without his beloved pet Bosco. Toph and Sokka engaged in a fierce battle against Ty Lee and Mei, emerging victorious and securing Bosco's safety. With the Earth King, Bosco, and the two young companions in tow, they fled Ba Sing Se, managing to rescue an injured Katara and Aang, who had violently fought against Azula, the Dai Li, and Zuko, who ultimately sided with Azula. As the group departed Ba Sing Se, the Earth Kingdom expressed his sorrowful realization, stating,
"The Earth Kingdom has fallen."
This was really a big moment in the show. We had spent most of season one hearing mentions of Ba Sing Se, Um, Season two was pretty much all about heading there, especially going to find Appa and everything. And we had heard so much about how great the city was, and then getting there and then finding out how corrupt it was, how corrupt the Daili were, how the Earth King was just a puppet and all this, and the fact that we had the Fire Nation trying to get in when we first arrived there, and then Azula, Tylee, and May sneaking their sneaky little selves in, and Azula taking down Aang with the lightning and everything within Ba Sing Se and just taking it over. They had built this up so much that this was like there was so much at stake when Ba Sing Se fell because that was the Earth Kingdom's big city. Now that the Fire Nation controlled it, pretty much if they wanted to, the Fire Nation probably could have ended the war just by taking over Ba Sing Se, but obviously they didn't and they wanted more. But yeah, this was a big moment of the show, and season two ended with so much on edge and on a cliffhanger that it was just the biggest. I think the season two ending was probably my favorite season ending for Avatar compared to one, even better than Sozin's comment. I'm gonna say.
At the camp of the Southern Water Tribe warriors situated at Chameleon Bay, the Earth King skillfully used chopsticks to chop up Bosco's dinner and fed it to the bear. The following morning, Kuei engaged in the act of educating Bosco about wilderness survival by reading from an encyclopedia. However, Sokka intervened by snatching the encyclopedia and tearing it apart, asserting that he would personally instruct Bosco on how to live as a genuine bear. Nevertheless, after a day filled with unsuccessful attempts at training, Sokka dismissed the entire endeavor as a futile waste of time. Kuei, on the other hand, acknowledged that he had gained a valuable insight from the experience. He realized that there was much in the world that he did not know, just like Bosco's lack of knowledge on being a good bear. With this newfound understanding, Kuei made a declaration to embrace humility and explore the world. He and Bosco discarded their royal governments, and Kuei mounted Bosco's back as they rode away together. Following his deposition, Kuei spent a significant period of time in exile, traveling across the world with his bear. During this time, he aspired to gain a deeper understanding of the lives of peasants beyond the confines of the palace. After the 100-Year War came to an end, Kuei reclaimed his rightful position as the Earth King following the liberation of Ba Sing Se by the Order of the White Lotus and Aang's victory over Ozai.
So finally, the Fire Nation has been defeated. Kuei is now back in Ba Sing Se, and he's ready to rule a little differently than he used to. So he decides to, get rid of the Fire Nation colonies, and this is where we're going to get into the Avatar comics. So if you haven't read the comics, definitely check them out. I've been reading them lately. Right now, I'm on the last one that's presently out right now. I don't know if they have any more coming out, but I'm on. It's called Imbalance, and this so it's spoiler alert. I'm not gonna get into heavy details here, um, but there are gonna be a few minor spoilers. And we're just gonna talk about Kuei's involvement in the comics and his story. So there won't be any major spoilers to the main stories of these comics. He's only in three of the, I think there's six out right now or seven. But anyways, let's jump right into it.
In an effort to take a more hands-on approach to ruling, he initiated a project aimed at dismantling the remaining Fire Nation colonies within the Earth Kingdom. This endeavor, known as the Harmony Restoration Movement, initially showed promise and received approval from the new Fire Lord, Zuko. However, after a year, issues arose in Yudao, the first Fire Nation colony, causing Zuko to withdraw his support from the movement. This decision created tensions that posed a threat of plunging the world back into war. As the crisis unfolded,
So Kuei, he wants to get rid of all the Fire Nation colonies, but as we can see, this one colony that was pretty much like the first colony established in the Earth Kingdom, Udao, it's become its own thing now. They got uh, Fire Nation married to Fire Nation residents married to Earth Kingdom residents. They have kids that are either Firebenders, Earthbenders, both, what have you. It's really a mixture of culture and everything. And Zuko seeing this, seeing how these people live, he realizes they just can't like remove all these colonies. Like it might be easy for some, but for the ones that have been there for like over a century now, this is their home. And this causes like a rift between him and Kuei and leads to almost all out war.
As the crisis unfolded, the Earth King held a meeting with Aang and Katara. They relayed the news that Zuko continued to deny the movement, resulting in Udao remaining a colony. After carefully considering the situation, the king expressed his frustration with feeling weak and being deceived. Consequently, he refused to engage in any further discussions with Zuko, as the Fire Lord's change of heart only reinforced the king's belief that it was yet another falsehood. To the shock and horror of Aang and Katara, Kuei declared his intention to dispatch troops to Udao in order to enforce harmony. The conversation concluded with the king firmly stating to Aang that if he did not support this decision, it could only be assumed that he was against him. Kuei fulfilled his promise and guided a substantial Earth Kingdom army towards Udao in the west, making preparations for an imminent confrontation with the Fire Lord. Kuei arrived at Udao accompanied by an army under the command of General Hao, with the intention of reclaiming the city in the name of the Earth Kingdom and apprehending the Fire Nation colonizers. They reached the city shortly before Zuko and his forces, who were determined to prevent Kuei's troops from displacing the colonists. Kuei instructed General Hao to engage Zuko in battle, while he observed the conflict from the safety of his war balloon, once again displaying his fear of directly confronting the situation. Despite after Aang and his friends' futile attempts to negotiate a ceasefire between the two armies, a chaotic four-way battle ensued as Zuko's and Hao's forces, along with the Avatar and the colonists, fought for control of the city. After sending Aang away to meditate on the crisis in a peaceful location, Katara propelled herself into Kuei's war balloon, only to discover him trembling in fear and longing for the company of his pet bear, Bosco. Katara realized that Kuei, having lived a sheltered life of luxury within the confines of Ba Sing Se, had never truly faced Udao or its inhabitants, viewing it solely as another Fire Nation colony. She urged him to descend with her and confront the citizens directly to witness the impact of his decisions on the people. Reluctantly, Kuei agreed to accompany Katara to the city below.
Kuei, who has been controlled his entire life, is tired of it. He's tired of people lying to him. He's tired of Zuko. He finds Zuko's behavior just appalling. And he's tired of all the lies and everything, of Zuko going back on his promise. He tells Aang that, if you're not with me on this decision, then you're against me. And he gathers up his armies and heads to Udao for a showdown with Zuko. And if he can, he's gonna force everybody out. And he's showing that he wants to show so much power, but when he gets to the battlefield, he just hides in his air balloon. And it's here where Katara realized that he's never seen how these people live and how they've mixed together and everything, and basically come up with their own new culture in this small little town. So he visits them and he sees how they are and everything, and he just realized that he was in the wrong.
Immediately following this event, Aang activated the Avatar state and swiftly intervened in the conflict at Yudao. Utilizing his earthbending abilities, he skillfully separated the city's grounds from the battlefield, effectively putting an end to the battle. After rescuing Zuko from a perilous fall, Aang confronted Kuei and reprimanded him for his actions. He compelled Kuei to acknowledge that his actions were not merely against one or two nations, but against all four. Aang agreed with Zuko's stance in fighting for the citizens' right to coexist, which had led to the emergence of a new kind of world. In this world, nations no longer viewed each other as separate entities, but as a unified whole. Aang emphasized that if Yudao could find common ground, the rest of the world could also strive for compromise and unity. Kuei, upon realizing the grave consequences of his impulsive choices that could have ignited yet another devastating war, took immediate action. He issued a command for all his forces to cease their hostilities, recognizing the urgent need to personally witness the true nature of Yudao. This pivotal decision brought about a resolute conclusion to the conflict. Subsequently, discussions commenced regarding the fate of the colonies. Kuei, alongside Fire Lord Zuko, affixed their signatures to the Treaty of Yudao, a significant accord that played a crucial role in establishing lasting peace between the respective nations. Although Kuei himself did not attend these deliberations, he entrusted an esteemed scholar to deliver a lecture in Yudao expounding upon ancient theories of governance. This act reflected Kuei's belief in the potential of drawing upon the wisdom of the past to forge a prosperous future.
So now everything has settled, peace has finally been achieved, and Zuko and Kuei have settled the differences. Yudao still gets to exist, and there's plans to have some of the other Fire Nation colonies just come together as a group. Um, it's so great to see, and a lot is going on here in the comics. Definitely, I would say, definitely check out the comics if you get a chance. They have some very good stories. We're going to talk a little more now about the comics, so let's go.
During the Southern Reconstruction Project, Kuei received an invitation from Hakoda to visit the South Pole. Hakoda, along with Fire Lord Zuko, wanted the Earth King's perspective on the international implications of granting the Southern Water Tribe equal political status as the other nations. Despite the ongoing struggles in the Earth Kingdom hindering direct support, Kuei expressed his approval for the plan as long as the Water Tribe showed tangible progress towards civilization. However, his unintentionally patronizing tone bothered Katara, prompting him to change his approach and emphasize the Earth Kingdom's willingness to assist in making the South a cleaner, safer place. Before the meeting could conclude, Kuei was abducted by Galak and his rebel army, who intended to exchange him for Hakoda. As the two leaders were crossing the bridge of no return to switch positions, Galak attempted to sever and later set fire to the bridge, aiming to eliminate both statesmen at once. Although the bridge collapsed, Kuei was rescued by Fire Lord Zuko. Following the ordeal, the king shared a meal with Team Avatar, Hakoda, Melina, Paku, and Kana.
So Kuei and Zuko have now been brought to the Southern Water Tribe to speak with head chief Hakoda about making the Southern Water Nation, a bigger part of all the stuff that goes on in the world, right? They've built basically big palace-like structures, big towns, and everything in the Southern Water Tribe. It has changed so much since Katara and Sokka have been there. And Kuei, he does think they should be part of the bigger nations and everything, and be a part of all the big talk and all that stuff, right? And politics and whatnot. But he does say some stuff that bothers Katara, and he realized that he was treating the Southern nation as if they were more like inferior to every other nation, and he backs up on that. So he's still got a lot to learn, and but as we can see, not a whole lot of trust going on with some people in the Southern War tribe who want it to stay the way it was. They think it's become too much like the North, and they just want the North just wants all the resources, which we see that was kind of true. If you read the comics, sorry, a little spoiler there. I gotta be careful because sometimes when I talk about things, like comics and stuff, and I'm planning on doing a video on the comics, like I said. So I don't want to say too much. But yeah, so there's also a situation where Kuei gets kidnapped and everything and trade him for Hakoda. They just try to kill them both, but Zuko manages to save Kuei, and they save Hakoda and everything's fine. Um, so now, like the next part, I'm not going to talk much about because it is about the comic Imbalance, and I'm currently reading that one. So I'm just going to play this last small part, and then we'll be at the end of the video.
Kuei's perceived ineffectiveness as a ruler during the Hundred Year War indirectly contributed to the emergence of the bending supremacist movement in Cranefish Town. The movement's leader, Liling, believed that Kuei's lack of bending abilities allowed the Dai Li to overthrow him and defect to the Fire Nation. Consequently, she concluded that individuals without bending abilities should not hold positions of leadership. Several years after the Hundred Year War, Kuei had a daughter named Hu Ting, who eventually succeeded him as the ruler of the Earth Kingdom. However, Hu Ting held a negative opinion of her father and his decision to relinquish Earth Kingdom territory to the United Republic of Nations in a deal with Aang and Zuko. Kuei also had another child, and it was his grandson Wu who became the rightful heir to the throne following Hu Ting's death at the hands of Zahir in 171 AG.
So that is the story of the 51st Earth King Kuei, 51st or 52nd. I should really check that before doing this video. I'm pretty sure it's the 51st though. Might be 52nd. Um, Not sure. But that's the story of Kuei. Um, Obviously, very interesting character on the show. Um, doesn't do a whole lot, but he's very important. It's the whole reason that basically, if he had been controlled and he was actually in charge of everything, maybe things had gone differently. Maybe Ba Say would have fallen sooner. Maybe they would have been stronger if their actual king was in charge. Um, but very interesting character. I enjoyed making this video. Interesting thing, his life is a lot similar. They seem to have drawn themes from the life of the last emperor of China, Emperor Puyi. Very interesting story. Became emperor at a very young age. Age 2, so obviously he couldn't obviously like make decisions, just rule everything. So it was other people doing it. So he was sort of like a puppet figure at the time and everything, and a lot of similarities in the story to Kuei. So very interesting. Definitely, that if you like history, definitely go check that out. Um, but I put a lot of work into this video. Been editing this over like the past couple of days. Um, just getting it all ready together. So guys, I really hope you enjoy this video. I enjoyed making it. If you want to see like other projects like this, me doing more stuff like this, let me know down in the comments below. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video. And guys, I will see you all in the next one. Love you all.